Road running for me was definitely, I don't know, it's a lot of stress, I would say. Like, I think I garnered quite a bit of success while doing it, but I think I kind of lived in a state of a lot of anxiety. It's just a lot of pressure, especially coming off winning the bronze. And for me, it's putting my body into a really stressful state a lot of the time. It's a lot of threshold running. I find a lot of body pressure in road running. That might just be me personally, but it ultimately, I think, is probably not the healthiest place for me. I think it took me a really long time to realize the effect that it was having on me. Because I just lived in that anxiety all the time, you're just steeped in it. And so I would like wake up anxious, I would spend the day being anxious, and the only time I would not be anxious is like after the workout is finished. And so, I don't know, I started realizing that other places in my life were really taking a hit, like my relationships with people, my relationships with myself. I saw a lot of it, like, especially just in my relapse with eating disorder, a lot of it comes through there. That's like the way that I off-gas anxiety and try to have a sense of control. And I think for me, that was a hard thing to have to come to terms with, especially the second time that I went through treatment, of just being like, when I put myself in that kind of anxious place all the time, there's going to be effects. You can't handle that for forever. But yeah, I met with my my coach and then the nutritionist that I've been working with, and we've got like a whole spreadsheet of when to take what, when, whatnot, and it's just so much more complicated with ultra. I'm very lucky that I have people around me that are incredibly caring, incredibly supportive. I really worked hard to build that. But I think road running in general, it's a very competitive space. I think when you go to the races, you feel it. You can feel that tension. And even at workouts and in Flagstaff, especially because you get these big group long runs, you get big group workouts, you can feel a little bit of that tension and energy, even with people that like, I love them, they're my friends, but you always have in the back of your mind, these are my competitors, and like, we're gonna be going to war, like, and you definitely feel like that in some of the workouts. I think I got my ass handed to me in more workouts leading into Tokyo than I could count. But that's just the nature of what it is. It very much comes from like that collegiate background, especially with what the marathon has become. The marathon is so fast, the marathon is so competitive. I think that to some degree, that competitiveness almost is required because it does bring out great performances. The firmest one was breaking my kneecap before trials. I think that was probably that was something that it took months for me to come to terms with. Just how destructive this was becoming on my body. I think to break your kneecap in a non-impact way just from running hard, that was a bit of a shock. And it was because I was doing the exact same training that I had done leading into Tokyo, and it was realizing like, oh, I can't manage this for more than one build because I keep breaking. I think in the period between Tokyo and training for those trials, doing that kind of training, I tore my glute, I broke my sacrum, I cracked my sacrum again, I broke my kneecap. Like, I had to pull out of multiple marathons because my body just wouldn't take it, and I wasn't listening to my body. I think it was that I was pushing through everything and being like, well, this has worked before. I should be able to just keep doing this and pushing harder, if anything. And I wasn't willing to listen to what my body was saying, which was just, we can't maintain this. I think much of 2024 was me having to redevelop that relationship with my body and finally listen and come to terms with the fact that it was just too much. After I broke my kneecap and I spent basically a year healing from that, I just came to terms with the fact, like, if I keep training like this, I'm only going to get to run one marathon every 3 years. And I like running too much to do that. So what my body is telling me is that I either have to change or I'm going to keep living this life over and over and over and over again. And it is just too mentally painful to handle that because I love what I do. And so it was, I think there was a lot of sadness. I would say I went through a pretty big depressive episode of realizing, yeah, I'm not going to be marathoning at a high level for a very, very, very long time, if ever again. And I think that came with a lot of sadness. But I think with that door closing, the door of trail running opened because I realized, hey, I don't have to step away from running completely. I don't have to retire. There's another option here. And there's a way that you can do this healthy, but it's going to look completely different from what you imagined your career was going to look like.
If you guys want to set up like your stuff in here.
A lot of it was basically going and getting my body healthy. At first, I hadn't been hormonally healthy in years. Marathon training was pretty destructive on my endocrine system, and so the first thing was to get back a healthy cycle and get my system feeling okay, and that took a long time. And then getting my body back to a healthy place where I could maintain consistent training. And I think also establishing that my life has to have a level of balance in order to maintain training, and that time away from altitude, time away from heavy training doesn't make me a worse athlete. It gives me the balance that I need that allows me to train at a very high level when I'm here.
Like we're camping.
Yeah. Dora, have you seen my little one? All right.
I got to Lion in New York, and obviously I was pretty happy to be there, but I was just like, this just isn't my life anymore. And it just is what it is.
But is there an element of that also feeling a bit refreshing, almost like freeing, that you're able to say that?
I think being able to come to terms with that, of so much of my marathon career was I had this huge success right from the get-go, and it almost became like like bronze handcuffs a little bit, of being like, well, now you have to do this because you're really good at it. And I think being able to be at this age, at this place in my career, and say, like, what do I actually want to do? I think that is a really fun place for me to be in, rather than like, what am I contractually obligated to do? What am I expected to do? I kind of love the idea of like doing the opposite of what people expect me to do. But I think that the laid backness of trail running, it allows me to be a chiller version of myself. Because I think I really respond to the environment that I'm in. I think if I'm in a high stress environment, I become really neurotic and really hyper vigilant about stuff. And when I'm in a chiller environment, I can let myself relax. And I think that's what trail running has let me do. Something that I've really loved is I have come into this sport as an outsider, as someone who's been highly accomplished on the roads, and I'm really trying to come into it with a level of respect for what trail running is, how hard it is, how talented the women are in this. And I hope that my coming in here with respect and hopefully a lack of ego, I don't know. I think that the trail people that I've met like respect that to a degree, because I'm not coming in here being like, I'm the Olympic medalist, blah, 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 blah. Like, I want to come in here knowing like this is a rookie season for me. This is the first year that I'm doing this at a high level, and there's going to be ups and downs with it, and I want to learn. And I don't want to come in here and try and make it something that it's not. I want to respect the history of trail running, the establishment to some degree, but also bring my own spin on it and try and help the sport evolve.
What would you say the limit of like actual Phoenix is?
Well, there's like boundaries for the streets and stuff because it's a whole grid system.
I mean, that's my bread and butter. I've been like running at a high level since high school. I ran in the NCAA. Like, that's about as structured and formulaic as you can get. And so I think to some degree, I'm never going to be the the person who goes out without a watch and just runs in the mountain for hours. Like, I definitely approach with the structure of a road runner, and I don't see that as a fault. That's just who I am. I like to build around some of that structure. So I think it's that I see myself a bit of like a hybrid athlete. I'm taking a road approach to trails to some degree, but I'm allowing myself to be like open to transformation on the trails and accept that a fully road approach, you can't be that structured on the trails. You have to be willing for things to go a little bit haywire sometimes, for runs to go a little bit longer than you expect, for not everything to go exactly to plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got an Olympic bronze medalist here, towing the line in our dinky little trail race, this little ultra running community that we have.
Oh my gosh, but I feel like that's half the fun of all of this. Like, yes, it's fun to go out and race hard. Yes, it's fun, the competitive side of the sport, especially at a race like Black Canyon. But I think trying to remember that in essence, like, we're all here because we love running, we love getting to do this, and especially in trail, we love the weird little community of trail running. And I don't know, it's fun, it's quirky, and I think really celebrating that is one of the best parts.
So many of these people who are going to be out here crowing for me this weekend, they saw me like going through the depths of it the last few years. They saw me at a point, some of them saw me at a point where I thought I was going to retire from running. And I think what is really special about Black Canyon, and what I think is the coolest part of all of this, is so many of these people have helped me get healthy mentally and physically, get here, have supported me through that. And the race really feels like a celebration of getting to come back and me feeling like I'm really aligned with what I'm doing. And it's going to be a really tough day, but getting to celebrate it with people that I really love and have seen me go through it, I think that that's what's really special about it. And that's what it is. I feel like it really is a team effort, because what's different, like in a marathon, you can do it just you. I mean, the race handles all of your nutrition. It's kind of just you out there. It is a pretty selfish enterprise, like when you think about it, just because it's like, well, I worked hard, I'm out here, I'm doing it, and like, sure, my coach wrote the training, but it's just me. And with ultra, it's like, you honestly can't do it without other people. Like, you kind of have to have your people around you supporting you and helping you get to that finish line. And that's why I think it's kind of fun that you get to share it. And like, we're gonna have like a little team meeting, and we're all gonna have our like different things that we're doing, but that's where it feels really fun. That, I don't know, I think I'm gonna have a lot of gratitude out on the course for the people that like are helping me get to the finish line there.
How do you feel about going into a distance, like the part of the distance that you haven't yet experienced?
I would say terrified, like terrified in a good way. I think you kind of should be a little bit, but I don't know, I always look at that as like, you should be a little bit terrified by things that you haven't done yet, but that shouldn't keep you from doing it. I think of how scared I was going into my first marathon, like the fear that I felt that night before. And it is kind of fun getting to experience that again, of just being like, yeah, I don't know what this is going to be like, but I know I'm going to learn a lot about it myself. I know I'm going to get to have a completely new experience. And that, I think, is what I really am like relishing about this.
Silliest little outfit you've ever put together. I know. I'm obsessed. Pretty cool. Silliest girl
I very much am a racer, and I love to set my mark off other people. And especially here, like, there's no specific time goal. Obviously, I have like a specific time in mind if I hit my pacing correctly, but the whole goal of this race is finish top 3. Like, my main goal of this race is to qualify for Western States off of this, and to get a great first experience as well. So I think for me, being able to see the women around me who are very experienced on this course, who I have seen how they have raced on this course, and I really admire how they've paced it, how they have held it together, and almost being like, okay, those are the people that I want to focus on. Kind of like I said, this year is a building year. Originally, the plan was to not try and qualify for Western States until 2027 and really go after it. I think my coach originally wanted me to do Javelina in the fall. And I think as we went through this build and my confidence built, and I felt so confident in my training and I was like, hey, like I think there's a real possibility that we could try and do it this year. But realizing that 100 miles is very different from 100K. Even like that jump, the extra 38 miles, I think is that is a new frontier in and of itself. And so I think like right now I've been all in on Black Canyon and approaching this, and I very much hope that Saturday goes well. And if I am able to get that golden ticket, I think I would love to take it and use this year as an experiential year at Western States with the goal of like fully fucking sending it in 2027. Like I'll say it right out, the ultimate goal is to like try and win Western States. And I want to do everything that I can to get the experience that I need in order to show up there to be able to race. I don't want to just finish 100 miles. I want to race it. But I want to do everything I can this year to set myself up for a real go at it. I'm gonna grab it out of my bag here. I'm just gonna jog for like, I don't know, a mile or so, and then I'll just come right back here.
Do it. Do you need a light? Hey, do you want to head tilt?
I
If not,
honestly
you're
think I'm
fine.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I think like I'm approaching, like I'm not just doing trail running to do trail running. Like I'm approaching this with the same like level of diligence and like dedication that I take to the roads. And I think is like there haven't been a lot of road runners that I think have treated this like their main deal. I think a lot of people transition from the roads to trail at the end of their career and like, I'm just gonna have fun doing this now. And it's like, I enjoy trail running. I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to try and be the best trail runner I can be. And I do believe that me, fully healthy and at my top level, is like, can be one of the best at this. And so I think like, I owe it to myself and I owe it to the sport, like respecting what trail running is becoming, that I think that I can be one of those people. I might not be it right now, but I know that I will be. I feel when I'm really confident, I feel really dangerous. I think of the times when I was at my best racing in college, when I was best racing the marathon. And I think it's just a level of like, I love going out and racing hard and being a little bit chaotic and being the, like, I think it's that when you are really fit and you feel really good, you can make moves and be really dynamic. And that's what I love about racing. When you can go and you can be someone that other people fear a little bit. And I think that that's what really lights me up about the sport, because like, I think it's what makes running really special and different from, maybe not different from other sports, but I think that you can always tell when there's that extra little something there. And it even doesn't feel like fully you sometimes, like, because I mean, that's not me in most of my normal life, but I think something really special kind of comes out of you when you are as prepared as you can and you kind of just put it out to the universe and like something comes through you. In the past, I think I experienced a lot of doubt. I think that's the thing when I talk to people that they're most surprised about. Like, I have a lot of doubt in my own ability. And sometimes I think that is my own, like, that's my biggest challenge to get through, is that I'm constantly doubting my ability. And I think that the challenges I've been through the last few years has taught me that, like, I do fully believe in myself and my ability to do this. And so I think I do visualize what success could look like and trying to believe so hard that it's already there and all I have to do is to go out and make it happen. I think that is probably the biggest mental switch I've experienced, that I don't hope that success is going to happen. I believe it's going to happen.
might want this, she might want this, she might want this, she might want this. So just like having it flatty.
I think I'll still be able to get lower.
Yeah, I'll stand.
I will be right back. Okay.
Assuming I can get back faster than the differential.
Let's go, Molly! Molly, you're looking great.
Hands up, man. Right here.
Want glasses?
That would be great.
All right, Molly, you got a client come and run down to the train station.
Got it. Hey, we're having
You're running smooth and you're looking good. Hey, are you staying cool?
Yeah,
Okay, if you need to the next day, get some ice.
the bottle. Oh, I'm good.
Rice Krispies, Rice Krispies.
Head up, Gretchen.
Strong. Feel me.
Way to go, Jen.
Push it, stop. No, you got it. Come on. Right.
Oh, I need a lot of water.
Hey, hold on. I want you to take your time right now. Get that ice around back.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be okay. Just take your time.
Right. Yeah. You are strong.
We need to get her some more fluids. Extra
I'm really
fluids.
down bad on fluid. Yeah, I'll take a risk.
Jellos?
Turn things
Rice
around.
Krispies, good.
You're good.
Yeah. I'm just gonna try and
We got a long rest.
It's gonna be a lot of ups and downs in here.
You want another gel?
Yeah.
You're gonna need to pull up on the climbs. The name of the climb goes through strength. Okay?
Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do another 30.
You are
Do it. You can dig.
This is back.
Yeah, you can dig. Molly. You got it. We're in it, man. You get it. Get it. You're in it. Come on.
Got this shit. Let's go, man. Let's go, Molly.
Yeah. Do you want to go to me?
I need this is water.
Okay.
I need this is water.
While you're taking the third level, it's the longest section, okay?
Okay.
8 miles.
You have to.
You want me to continue? Come on. Go, Craig. Next 5 is like a slow burn uphill.
Okay.
Let's go, Molly! Soak it up, Molly. Soak it up. All right, send it. Soak it up, Molly. You got this. Let's go. Let's finish strong. Way to go, Molly. Let's go. You got this.
Chasing you! Chasing you!
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. This is going to be number 4, ladies. And your golden ticket winner, Molly Seidel.
making some noise for the finishers of the Black Canyon 100.
I hate to. Can I hold all your things?
You mean like the shoulder?
My legs are like, yep.
Wow.
I was telling them earlier.
Now she's moving.
Now race.
No, now I'm like, what did I do? Me too. Fuck. What's next? 200?
I've hurt in a way that I've never experienced before. Like truly indescribable. An indescribable.
So stomach, you were good.
Stomach was totally fine. Yeah, it was actually really good. I was slamming Joe.
Yeah, it's really about like hydration and like.
Yeah, no, the hydration was great. I refueled water a lot though.
Good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and award the top 3 fastest women.
I think I'm really proud of myself from a lot of standpoints. I think I look at all of this as like just part of the game, and I really appreciate the opportunity to get to like share this aspect of it with people, because it's like I think if I was like a newer runner or whatnot, I think it helps getting to show like the ups and downs, and that it's not always like 100%, like there are challenges to this. But like, I think yesterday I actually like said to myself in the last few miles, like out loud, I was doing a lot of out loud self-talk, probably because I was delusional. But like I said out loud to myself, like I'm so proud of myself because the last few years have been so hard. And like a year ago this time, I physically could not run. And my goal was to run the Black Canyon 100K, even at a time like when I couldn't run, when I didn't know if trail running was gonna be the thing. There were so many unknowns. And coming from like the real physical low that I was in the last few years, I'm really proud of myself for like believing in it and trusting it and being able to get to this point. Like I don't think I've ever had a moment like that in my career where I was able to come from like really having to build up from scratch to this and accomplish something that like this is like physically probably the hardest thing I've done so far in my career. And I think that's why it made it really, really special when I crossed the finish line. And especially like getting the golden ticket of just being like, damn, like it really felt delusional a lot of this last year, believing that I could do this, and being able to have that like positive result yesterday, I think made it really special, just knowing like what it took to get here.